Good morning and welcome to another Monday morning art talk. So today's discussion is I want to talk about the true power of just persistence and not giving up on certain things. And I have to tell this in my own personal story because so often when I talk to people all the time, I just hear just that type of giving up phase. I hear that a lot. It's something that keeps showing its evil head of just people going so far and then quitting or not following all the way through. And it can vary in different forms. One of those forms is you may be we're trying to work with someone or do something with them, and you find that even though in the beginning the conversation was there, both of you were on board. Hey, let's do this, let's move forward. This sounds great. It could be a client, they sound eager, you sound eager, and you're going back and you email them, and then there's some response, and then you email them back and all of a sudden there's no response, but then you email them again and there's no response, and things like this happen. There's a certain point where I almost say it's, about three different tries, at least on your point, before you got to realize that for the persistence aspect on this, they've changed their mind. Something's happened. They no longer want to use you. Whatever the situation may be, it's not going to work out. You got to understand and just keep in mind that they have your information now. You're kind of saying the ball is in their court like a tennis match. Well, the ball's in your court. It's on your side, so you're the one who needs to take the next step. I cannot keep chasing you. I'm busy. I got things I got to do for myself, and that's something where you work that out amongst yourselves, and I think that's just very important to consider. So that point, you don't start becoming a pest, because sometimes you can deter people or turn them off. It's just like, if they're not getting back to you, it's for whatever reason. Maybe they had to leave out of town somewhere, maybe some emergency came up, we don't know. But you got to know that if someone really wants to work with you, if someone really wants to do something and follow through, they're going to follow through. And if they don't, it's sort of going to fall off the truck, so to speak. And listen, that's what happens. All right. But what I wanted to talk today about is even just, again, that those dreams that we set for ourselves more and more, as I talk to artists and professionals, friends that I have in the industry. What is the dream that I find the reoccurring dream of most artists? And that is just to do your own thing, work in your own things, develop your own projects, have more time. That's always a big factor. You want more time to get things done. You don't want to be working like a slave. You want to be paid well for what you do. There's a lot of those are some of the factors that artists just want, because we're creative and we have ideas and we just got to get stuff out. But what I want to talk to you about the persistence on my story is why it's so important, because and the reason I say this stuff is because it happens to me all the time. And so I can only express to you that through my own personal story and my own personal mindset. I just hope that that passes on to you, and that you don't look at this and go, well, that's him. Well, look what he's done. That's because he's accomplished. That's because he's worked on those shows. That's because. Just a lot of excuses as to why you're not doing stuff, because you may be too wrapped up in what other people have done, and maybe you're belittling yourself, not thinking you're not good enough yet, that you're not at that place yet. But the only way you get there, the only reason I got to where I was, and a lot of you guys have seen my early work, which was just absolutely horrendous and horrible, and I was no better off than a lot of people, but it was my persistence that kept driving me through and kept one thing after another getting me the things I want in life. It was just simple as that. And I don't want to say that step is simple. I want to let you know that it requires a daily conscious thought behind it, that nothing's gonna just happen. Okay, you gotta put in that effort, because that's what determines your outcome in this whole thing. But that persistence is another showed its side to me again, and I want to share this story. So many of you guys know I had my school out in Sun Valley, and I gave that space up because it was in the wrong. I felt just I didn't want that location anymore. I needed air conditioning. I needed heat. My landlord. There are a bunch of little scenarios coming into the factor, which made me say I had to go with my gut decision and say, am I going to stay or am I going to go? And I decided to go because my mindset was, I'll just find another place and it'll happen pretty quickly. Well, it didn't happen quickly. What ended up happening was, as I was trying to find places, they just for one reason or another didn't work out. But I still didn't let that deter me. I still didn't stop. And then I set up my own home studio where I do that mentorship here. And that all of a sudden became, wow, this is great and this is working. So then I stopped looking for an actual physical space to do to do everything, to do my life drawing, to do my character design, because this was what I needed. This was great. But what was missing inside of me was I want to do life drawing. I love, love, love life drawing. I find a value in it. I think it's important. And personally, I didn't want to. I could just show up to another life drawing class, but I thought, I don't want to do that. That's not what my dream is. My dream is I want to have my own space, and I got a storage unit filled with all my benches and all my stuff, and I don't want it just sitting there. It makes no sense. I want to put all this stuff that I've already acquired and put it into use. So now I had a new goal. I had something new to be persistent on. I knew something that I wanted. I had a drive, a goal that I set, and that goal set was I want a space just to do figure drawing. That's what I want to do. This is what I need. I don't just want to drive to other locations. In all honesty, I live out in Simi Valley, and driving to Burbank for me is 30 minutes that way. Driving to Thousand Oaks is about another 30 minutes that way. I'm like, I don't want to keep doing that each week or whenever I'm going to do it. And say, for me, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't my vision. So I knew what my plan was. I knew what my goal was. So now I had that goal. So all the time I kept thinking, I just want a space. So I kept every now and again, I kept going on to, there's a website called LoopNet. And on LoopNet, they show you all these different places for sale or lease, to get. And I went on this LoopNet and couldn't find the space. And every time I look in, they were looking expensive, and they had these outrageous, leases and all this other thing. And that's a whole nother topic with all that's business aspect there. But I wasn't finding what I was looking for. And then it became, what I would love? I just want to sublease a space. So then the idea became, I want to sublease, which means I just want to find someone who already has a building and they're not using a certain section of it, and they're going to sublease, and I'll pay a portion of the rent. So I'm not paying a full thing. I'm not going to be there all the time. I don't want an everyday school. That's not my intention. I just want a place to go figure drawing once a month. That's all I want to do, is go to a place once a month. For right now, that's my own place that I could set up and create. So with that in mind, I kept thinking that that's what I wanted, and looking at all options. And once I had that ingrained in my head, anything I saw, any sparks of ideas, people I met, people I talked to, I'd open up about it, let people know about it. Hey, if you know something, let me know. Blah 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 blah. So there's a place near my house in Simi Valley. It's near this Target shopping center I went by, and it's a place where they do those paint and draw drink nights. Where you paint. They kind of, anyone. If you don't know how to paint, you go there and you paint a sunset, and you can get wine, and people bring their own wine, and it's this big new thing that's everyone's doing right now. And I thought, well, hey, they're doing that. Maybe, look, it looks like they're closed on Mondays. Maybe I could work out a deal with them and set something up to, so I contacted them. I got their number. I got their website. Again, doing the research. I'm persistent. I want to follow through. How far do you want to take any idea you have? It's up to you. How far you want to take it? Call them, left an email. Hey, my name is Steven Silva, local resident of Simi Valley. I work in the animation industry. I want to do life drawing class. I see you're closed on Monday. Like to know if I could use the space, sublease, blah, blah, blah. They got back to me. Sounds interesting. Let's hear more about it. Told them more about it. Then they sort of went off the radar for a bit because they weren't sure. Then they got scared that people would come in, and what if there was damage and this and that. That's fine. I kept in communication with them, but then it sort of ended because it wasn't working out. And then I was at my shopping mall, and I met, they have an art association there, and I walked in through the mall's almost empty, there's a lot of empty spaces. And I went there and they got this artist association, like the Simi Valley Arts Association. And I went in and they got a bunch of local artists' paintings in there in this space. And there was an artist painting in there. And I started to talk to her and said, hey, this is my idea, but hey, you should contact the president. That sounds awesome. So I contacted the president of the association. That person got back to me, said, this sounds like a wonderful idea. Let's chat. So all of a sudden, again, this has taken a while. This has been a long time, over a year in the making. It didn't happen overnight. The constant looking for this space. And then after that, I realized, again, I'm still looking just for these opportunities. But now, because I was thinking about it, and this is what I wanted, I put out there what I wanted, and I wanted to chase this, and I want to pursue this. So, man, I hope to find a space. I hope to find a space. Lo and behold, I meet someone else, a former person I've worked with many times in the industry, who happens to have a space and happens to have a school in not an art school, but they teach, it's a charter school, martial arts, different things, and they have a school where in Simi Valley. Okay, so all of a sudden just started working. Hey, before you know it, wow, something's about to happen, and something did. And so what has happened now is that after all this time and searching and just keeping that positive mindset and not being in such a rush, when it happens, it happens. Don't get frustrated with the process when it doesn't happen as fast as you want it to. It's going to eventually happen. We don't know when. There's no time set on anything. Don't look too far into the future, or don't look too far ahead, as Winston Churchill puts it. And that's the thing, is that this situation came about. So now I've worked out this situation where it's going to be even beyond what my expectations were in the beginning. I just wanted that life drawing space, but now it's turning into this whole other concept where I'm going to be the director of this space, where we're going to open up a program for kids to start learning. And it's it's a whole nother thing that came from something else. So you don't know what's going to come from one thing's going to lead to another, but you just let things be and you let things unravel the way they're going to unravel, and that's what happened. So what I wanted to stress to you today was just, again, having that positive, persistent attitude helped me get the space that I wanted. And then now the ball was in my court, where now I'm contacting the person at the association and saying, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks for giving me the option to do this. I found another place, but I look forward to working with you guys, and I think we should, be great. So now I'm going to be a member of that association. Again, all these things just, hey, this synergy, these things happen, these connections get made. And then lo and behold, this other painting place that do the paint and drinking, they called me up, wanted to know if I found a space yet, because they want to maybe talk more. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. I found a place now. So all of a sudden, when there was no place, there were three places, from 0 to 3, in just a matter of time, and a matter all around the same time, because it is my belief the universe is going to bring to you at that moment, at that time, when the time is right. And maybe what you have to do is you just have to stay calm, and you got to be relaxed. And I think when you're relaxed and you're calm and you're open, and you free your mind of all the anxiety and the pressure and all these other worries which you cannot foresee, things will start to happen. And that's my experience over and over and over again, and that's why I want to keep sharing it over and over again to you, because this is what just keeps happening. So something's happening. There's a reason for it. I'm not just sitting doing nothing. You got to be active. You got to take initiative. You got to be persistent. But this is what happens, and this is what it takes. So if I can offer you anything, is just keep your mind clear. Know what it is that you want, and start to let just things happen. Start to take your little machete and start cutting your way through those bushes and the trees, one branch at a time. Clear that path, and eventually you come to a beautiful place, much like the people who did when they found the Grand Canyon. I read the whole story. I was there, and how these people came, and I don't have all the history and all that so much, but when they found and discovered the Grand Canyon for the first time, just the unfortunately, I mean, there were the Indians there and a lot of other people. But when it was discovered, and it's just like, wow, we went through all this, and from, whoa, look at this, what did we find here? This is crazy. All right. So that's what happens. You're going to dig through all those bushes and eventually you're going to find that, it's somewhere in there. Sometimes you might get lost a little and you're looking this way and you've gone the wrong direction. Oh, shoot, I got lost. I got to look this way. Hey, let's try going back over that way, go back that way. Oh, shoot, got a little lost and I ran into some spiders and I ran into, this and that and a tiger over that way. But I know that at some point, if I just keep going and I got my tools, I got my machete, I got my food, I'm prepared, I got my things that I need to get me through it. That's what it takes. That's what you need, is that arsenal of information that you acquire over the years. And it's through your own experience and the growth that you have will lead you there at that time when the time is right. Because sometimes you're just not simply ready. You want it, but you're just not ready. Your stuff maybe isn't to the caliber it truly needs to be to get you the things that you really want at that moment. And at that point, it's just a matter of declaring and knowing what your own weakness is, and really honing in and making sure that you find that weakness and develop it and keep working on it if that's the direction you want to go. And again, you may find that this is not the direction I want to go altogether. I got to go this other way. And you do that. So life is nothing but a series of events. It's nothing but a series of experiences. And keep that in mind and make the journey exciting. It's just, life is exciting because it's unknown. That's the exciting thing. Can you imagine if you were given when you were born this birth certificate, and on it told you, just what your name is and what you're going to do in life and where you're going to be and who you're going to meet and when you're going to die, and it was all laid out like that? Would that be productive? Would you want something like that? Having it so laid out and so clear? I personally wouldn't. Maybe you would. I wouldn't. I think, God, that would suck. It'd be like nothing to look forward to. No, okay, I'm going to do this trip and this is going to happen. Okay, big deal. It's not exciting anymore, right? It's just much like when you acquire the things you acquire in life that are exciting to you, and then eventually you realize it's not so exciting anymore. Okay, I always wanted this car and now I got it. It's cool now, but it's not. Now I want something more. This job, it's cool now, but now I want something more. That food tasted good, for a while, but now I want something more. If you had that same meal over and over and over again with anything, you're going to eventually get sick of it. So you have to do new things. I mean, that's just part of the growth, I think, of life, is just constantly maybe challenging yourself in a way and trying new things, and seeing what feels good to you. But be persistent and just follow through with it. All right. So that's today's Art Talk. Thanks for watching, and that's it. All right. I'll talk to you guys. Oh, just so you know that the first class will be the first figure drawing session that I'm doing at my new place is going to be September 15th. There's only 18 spots there because it's sort of limited right now. But you can, if you join my newsletter, if you go to silverdrawingacademy.com, and on the top right it says enroll or get notified. If you click on that, you'll be on the mailing list, and then you'll be notified when there's going to be any event if you miss it on Facebook or anywhere else. And then you can register your seat. So I'm not going to take any walk-ins. You got to book your spot, but I'll be announcing that soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care. Hello, this is Steven, and I just wanted to tell you about this cool thing that I'm doing right now through my website at silvertunes.com. It's a Skype mentorship. In a sense, what I want to do is just talk to you, meet you, tell me about things that are happening in your life, see if there's anything that I could do to help you. I can look over your artwork, do your portfolio, and just maybe try to push you in the right direction that you want to take your life and your journey. All right, so you can go to silvertunes.com, go to classes, click on mentorship, and you can learn all about it. We can try to arrange a time, set up a date. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. And I just wanted to make it just very affordable, just to open it up, because I love doing this. I love meeting people from all over the planet. It's a really cool thing, and with this technology, why not? So that's it. Thanks. Whoa! Hey! Go, go back. Go back.
Go back.
Great. Go back. Go.